Hello students, let me today introduce you with another prominent chapter of English grammar, that is conditionals. This chapter will help you a lot to be very fluent and flawless in English language while either writing or speaking to others. So hope your full cooperation today. Please be with me all throughout the session. Okay, thanks. Let us proceed now. Conditional sentence is a sentence that contains the main clause along with the if clause. Conditional sentences in English consist of two main parts, the main part and the if part or the conditional part. These types of sentences are used to express some possibility or some imaginary situations. Generally, we have four types of conditionals in English. We have got four types of conditionals here in English, like zero conditional, first conditional, second conditional and third conditional. In the zero type conditional, we are getting if plus simple present and then in the main clause simple present. For example, if you snooze, you lose. Let us see in details. This type of conditional sentence is used to describe very scientific facts, generally known truths, events, and other things that are always true. I think it's the simplest type of conditional used in English language. If we talk about the structure, we got main part with simple present tense and the if part also with simple present tense. Like water boils if you heat it. A red light comes on if you press the main button. In type 0 conditional sentences, if can be replaced by when also. For example, when you heat ice, it melts. It gets dark when the sun goes down. But the point to be noted here is that if the sentence is started with the if clause, there must be a comma between the if clause and the main clause. For example, if you heat ice, it melts. Then let us proceed towards the first conditional. Here the structure is like if plus simple present. Then in the main clause it will be followed by will plus main verb. For example, if he finds the diamond, he will celebrate. Now let us go in details. This type of sentence expresses real and possible situations in the future. It is possible for the condition to be met or fulfilled. So it is called an open condition. Here in the structure we have got the main part will plus infinitive as simple future, and then in the if part we are having simple present tense, like we shall stay at home if it rains. If it rains, I shall not go out. Then let us talk about the second type of conditionals. Here is also structure is like if plus simple past. It's a past subjunctive, and then it's followed by would. The main verb is followed by would. For example, if she knew the answers, she would pass. It's an unlikely event. If this happened, then this would happen in some action in the main clause. Let us go in details about the type 2 conditionals. It's called a half open conditional also. This type of conditional sentence describes an unreal situation with regard to the present or future. Basically a hypothetical condition that can only be fulfilled in the theoretical order. The structure is like main part, if we find would plus infinitive, and the if part it will be the simple past. In conditional sentences, the past tense form of the verb to be is where for all purpose, for all persons. For example, we would stay at home if it snowed. I would buy a new boat if I had more money. If he were rich, he would buy an island. Then type 2 conditionals. Type 2 conditional sentences are also used when making polite requests in the past time situations, like I would be grateful if you helped me. He would be so pleased if you came to the birthday party. The phrases like if I were you or if I were in your place are usually used to give advice, like if I were you, I would accept the offer. If he were in your place, he would do it. Then let us proceed to the third type of conditionals. Here, if plus past perfect is followed by and then would have and the past participle form of the main verb. For example, if I had seen the camera, I would have smiled. Here it's unfulfilled event. If this had happened, then this would have happened. It's some action in the main clause. The type 3 conditional sentences are also considered to be a closed condition. These type 3 conditional sentences are used to express situations that cannot exist, such actions or events that happened in the past. They are often used to indicate a missed opportunity. And the structure is like would plus perfect infinitive, and in the if part we do find like past perfect tense. If you hadn't been late for work, the boss wouldn't have got furious. They would have finished earlier if the meeting hadn't been held so late. If I had won the lottery, I would have bought a house by the sea. But here the point to be noted that the type 3 conditionals can also be started with had, like had I known your address, I would have visited you. Had I been the Prime Minister, I would have abolished entrance examination. Then let us talk about mixed conditionals. These type of conditional sentences are used different parts of the above mentioned conditional sentence types. For example, if you had taught me how to make waffles, I wouldn't have to buy them in a shop. I would buy a house by the sea. If I had won the lottery last week, their team would have scored more in the match yesterday if they were good players. But important grammatical notes are to be noted here. If the modal verbs can, could, may, might or should are used in the main part of the sentence, they take the place of will just. We can go to the seaside if you have time tomorrow. If you leave now, you may catch the last bus. If you want to pass the exam, you should study much harder. The words will and would are not usually used in the if part, excepting when they express willingness. For example, you see, if you will phone the manager now, he will surely make an appointment with you. That is willingness. I would be very thankful if you would help me with my homework. It's a very polite request. Then the important grammatical notes continued here. The word should in the if part can mean if perhaps or by any chance. For example, I would be very happy if you should turn up at the party. Here he is not at all likely to come, but perhaps there is a little chance. In the negative sentences, if not can be substituted with unless. For example, you won't pass the exam unless you study very hard. That is, if you do not study very hard. So if can be omitted from the sentence if the word order is changed. This is sometimes done in type 3 conditional sentences. If part is at the beginning of the sentence, or in type 2 conditional sentences, if the verb where is used. Were I rich, I would buy a house by the sea. That is, if I were rich. So if can be omitted sometimes. Had your cousin come earlier, I would have shown her around the house. If she had come earlier. So likewise, if can be replaced or if can be omitted sometimes. Then let us talk about conditionals without if. If can be replaced by unless, but for, provided that, and supposing. For example, unless you go, I will inform the police. That means if you do not go, I will inform the police. But for the rain, we would reach in time. That means if it were not the rain, we would reach in time. Then you can stay here provided you do not spoil the garden. Supposing he doesn't drive the car carefully. Supposing no one had come here. So yes, supposing is used to denote the idea of what will happen or what would happen if. Then some other types of conditionals let us talk about here. The future tense is never used in the if clause, but the modal verb may be used to express willingness, politeness, or some sort of suppositions. For example, if you will wait for a moment, the manager will meet you. If you will or if you should need my help, do not hesitate to tell me. I should be grateful if you would reply immediately. So these are some sort of exceptionals. Then should used in the conditional clause often emphasizes a doubtful view of the real condition. Like, should you agree to my terms, I will accept you as a partner. Should there be any delay, they will record their protest. Should you find it, please send it to me. Then the use of where with singular subjects indicates that the supposition is contrary to the reality. Like, if I were a king, I would give land to the poor. If I were the president of India, I would or should hang the corrupt. If I were you, I would go there. Let us talk about some other types of conditionals here also. Please note that don't forget to use simple past tense for something unreal or wished for now, but the past perfect tense is used when the supposition or wish was all in the past. Like, I wish I knew your mobile number. I wish I knew your mobile number. It is time we returned home. Suppose I reached there last. She behaves as if she knew English well. If only he had not broken the window. If only she listened to my request. I would rather you went home now. Then this slide is all about you. That is the task for you. You have to do in that way. Number 1, I do not know his name. I wish I know his name. It is time you revise your lessons. I wish I be there at the time. I would rather you try again for the prize. If only he not eat so much last night. If only he tell me the secret. Suppose you get a prize in the lottery. So you have to correct the sentences here. The verbs are here given within the bracket following the slides in the previous order. Then some of the solved examples are being found here in the slides here. Let us talk it about. If I had wings, I could fly. If water freezes, it turns into ice. If you won a lottery, he would give me a laptop. If I had known your address, I would have visited you. If she works out, she will pass out. This is also the task for you. You have to do, of course, by following the slides in the above order. Then this is another task for you, that you have to match the following here in it's given in the slide. This is very easy, interesting for you. That will make your conception very clear. Then here is another. You have to fill in the blanks with the appropriate conditionals or appropriate main clauses you have to put forward. And this is the end of the presentation. Thank you very much, all of you.